What if a girl who started playing volleyball on the streets at just 6 years old eventually became one of the most feared hitters in world volleyball? What if, at only 12, she was already being groomed as the future of Cuban volleyball? And what if, just when her career seemed destined for greatness, injury, controversy and a 4-year international ban threatened to derail everything? Well, that girl was Melissa Teresa Vargas Abreu. Today, the Cuban-born star is one of the biggest names in women's volleyball, representing Türkiye on the international stage and earning the nickname, Vargas Airlines, because of her spectacular jumping ability and explosive attacks. At 1.94 meters tall, with a reported spike reach of 3.26 meters, Vargas doesn't simply attack the ball, she seems to launch herself into another dimension. But behind those powerful spikes is a story filled with sacrifice, setbacks, migration, reinvention and an extraordinary comeback. This is the story of Melissa Vargas, the girl from Cienfuegos who became a Turkish volleyball superstar. Early life. Melissa Teresa Vargas Abreu was born on October 16, 1999, in Cienfuegos, Cuba. From the beginning, sports were part of her environment. Her father, Antonio Vargas, was a handball player, and Melissa grew up surrounded by athletics. Reports about her childhood describe a girl who was naturally drawn to sport and competition. But volleyball wasn't initially some carefully planned career. It started naturally. Melissa reportedly began playing volleyball on the streets when she was only 6 years old. Think about that. 6 years old. While most children that age are simply playing for fun, Vargas was already discovering something that would eventually become her profession. At 8, she joined her school's volleyball team. And that's when people began realizing that this wasn't an ordinary child. She had unusual athletic ability, power and coordination. By the age of 12, she was training with the Cienfuegos volleyball team and entering Cuba's youth national team system. The message was becoming clear. Cuba had discovered a special talent. Her family, Vargas' father, Antonio, has been publicly identified as a former handball player, which helps explain why athleticism was already part of her family environment. Her father has also spoken publicly about Melissa's passion for sport when she was young. However, Melissa has kept most of her family life remarkably private. There is very little reliable public information about her mother, and information about siblings is also extremely limited. Rather than filling those gaps with rumors, it is better to acknowledge what is actually known. What we do know is that her family supported a child whose sporting talent became obvious remarkably early. And by her early teenage years, volleyball was no longer just a hobby. It was becoming her destiny. Education. Vargas' formal education has received considerably less attention than her volleyball career. Public biographies associate her with the University of Cienfuegos, but detailed information about her schooling, specific subjects and academic achievements is limited. Her teenage years were dominated by elite volleyball development. And that makes sense when you look at the timeline. At 8, she was already playing for her school. At 12, she was training with Cienfuegos. At 13, she was already making an international impact. And by 15, she was appearing at the highest levels of international volleyball. Her education and sporting development therefore happened alongside one another, but volleyball increasingly became the center of her life. The prodigy, Vargas' rise through Cuban volleyball was incredibly fast. She entered Cuba's youth national teams at a remarkably young age, and made her international debut at just 13. The European Volleyball Confederation later described her as a Cuban volleyball wunderkind whose talent was recognized very early. Then came one of the biggest moments of her teenage career. At only 15 years old, Vargas played at the 2014 FIVB Women's World Championship for Cuba. Imagine being 15 years old and already competing at a senior world championship. That's not normal. That's extraordinary. And Vargas wasn't simply there to make up the numbers. She was already earning individual recognition in international competitions, including awards for scoring, serving and attacking. Her reputation grew quickly. People weren't asking whether Vargas could become a star. They were asking, how far can this girl go? Moving to Europe. In 2015, Vargas left Cuba for the Czech Republic, joining Eagle Prostejov at just 16. This was a huge step. She was still a teenager, but she was now playing professional volleyball in Europe. And one of her performances helped put her name firmly on the radar of Turkish volleyball. While playing against Turkish club Eczacıbaşı, Vargas impressed observers with her power and attacking ability. She was young, she was raw, but the potential was undeniable. Then came the setback that could have changed her entire life. The injury that changed everything. While playing for Eagle Prostayov, Vargas suffered a serious shoulder injury. She returned to Cuba for treatment. But according to reports, she became dissatisfied with the treatment options available to her and sought treatment elsewhere. That decision created a major conflict with the Cuban volleyball authorities. The dispute eventually resulted in Vargas receiving a 4-year ban from Cuba's national team. Think about what that means. A young athlete who was considered one of Cuba's greatest prospects suddenly couldn't represent her country internationally. 4 years. In professional sport, 4 years can feel like an eternity. Players develop, teams change, careers disappear. A career that once seemed destined for the top was suddenly surrounded by uncertainty. But Vargas refused to let the setback define her. Switzerland. After the difficult period in Cuba, Vargas moved to Switzerland and joined Bolero Zurich. It was another chapter in an increasingly international career. Cuba, then the Czech Republic, then Switzerland, and eventually Turkey. Every move brought another challenge. But Vargas continued improving. She was getting stronger, more experienced, more confident. And then, in 2018, the biggest opportunity of her young career arrived. Fenerbahce. In 2018, Vargas joined Turkish powerhouse Fenerbahce Opet. This was the beginning of her transformation into an international superstar. At Fenerbahce, Vargas developed into a devastating opposite hitter. Her physical gifts were extraordinary. She stood around 1.94 meters tall and had a reported spike reach of 3.26 meters. But height alone doesn't make a superstar. Vargas combined her size with explosive athleticism, powerful serving, speed and an aggressive attacking style. She became the kind of player opponents had to build an entire defensive strategy around. And then came another fascinating chapter. China. Vargas also became a major star in China's professional volleyball league, playing for Tianjin Bohai Bank during several seasons. Her career was unusual because she was competing at the highest level across different volleyball cultures. Europe, China, Turkey. Each experience made her more complete as a player. She continued collecting trophies and individual awards, including recognition as one of the league's top scorers and servers. But something much bigger was waiting. Turkey wasn't just going to be the country where she played club volleyball. It was about to become her international home. Becoming Turkish. In 2021, Vargas officially became a Turkish citizen. She received her Turkish identity card in a ceremony in April 2021. But citizenship didn't mean she could immediately play for Turkey. She had to complete the required waiting period before becoming eligible for the Turkish national team. So she waited, and waited. 2 years later, the opportunity finally arrived. 2023, the year Melissa Vargas became a superstar. If Vargas' career were a movie, 2023 would be the blockbuster chapter. After years of setbacks, she finally made her debut for the Turkish national team at the 2023 FIVB Volleyball Nations League. And what happened next? She helped Turkey win the tournament. But she didn't just win a gold medal. She was named MVP of the tournament and best opposite hitter. Her debut season with Turkey was already becoming legendary. But Vargas wasn't finished. Not even close. European Championship. Later in 2023, Vargas helped Turkey win the European Championship. And in the final against Serbia, she produced one of the most spectacular individual performances of the tournament. 41 points. Yes, 41. Vargas was the leading force as Turkey defeated Serbia 3-2, and she was named tournament MVP and best opposite hitter. That's when the volleyball world truly understood. Melissa Vargas wasn't simply a talented newcomer. She was a superstar. The Vargas Airlines phenomenon. Fans gave her the nickname, Vargas Airlines. And the nickname makes perfect sense. Her vertical ability allows her to attack from extraordinary heights, giving her powerful angles that make life extremely difficult for defenders. She can serve aggressively. She can attack from the back row. She can score under pressure. And when she gets into rhythm, stopping her can feel almost impossible. One moment she's standing behind the line. The next, boom, another missile lands on the opponent's court. That's Vargas Airlines. No boarding pass required. Paris 2024, the Olympic stage. Vargas' next major chapter came at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Representing Türkiye, she became one of the central figures of a team that had rapidly established itself as one of the world's strongest women's volleyball sides. She finished the Olympic tournament as the best scorer, another indication of just how important she had become to Turkey's attack. The girl who once couldn't play internationally for Cuba was now scoring points for Turkey on the biggest sporting stage on earth. That's quite a transformation. Her playing style. So what makes Melissa Vargas special? First, power. Her attacks come with enormous force. Second, jumping ability. Her reported spike reach of 3.26 meters gives her an enormous attacking advantage. Third, serving. Vargas has repeatedly been recognized as one of the game's outstanding servers. Fourth, confidence. Great attackers don't disappear when the pressure rises. They demand the ball. And Vargas has repeatedly shown that willingness to take responsibility when the match is on the line. That's why coaches trust her. That's why teammates look for her. And that's why opponents fear her. Relationships and love life. Now let's step away from the court. What about Melissa Vargas' romantic life? This is where things become much more private. Unlike some celebrities, Vargas doesn't regularly turn her personal relationships into public entertainment. There is no reliable public confirmation that she is married, and there is no well-established public record identifying a husband. Likewise, there is no reliable public evidence that Vargas has children. Information circulating online about her sexuality or alleged relationships should also be treated cautiously because much of it is speculation rather than verified information. So, as of 2026, the responsible conclusion is Melissa Vargas has kept her romantic and family life largely private, and there is no confirmed public information establishing that she is married or has children. And perhaps that's exactly how she wants it. While fans know almost everything about her volleyball statistics, Vargas has successfully kept much of her life away from the spotlight. What is Melissa Vargas like off the court? Public profiles often portray Vargas as hardworking, focused and intensely competitive. Her own website carries a quote that captures the mentality behind her career. Every day is an opportunity for me to know myself, improve and enjoy life. That mindset fits her journey perfectly. Because Vargas has had to constantly reinvent herself. New country, new club, new language and culture, new national team, new expectations. Yet she continued improving her achievements. Vargas' medal collection has grown rapidly. With Turkey, she won 2023 Volleyball Nations League Gold, 2023 European Championship Gold, 2023 Volleyball World Cup Gold, 2025 World Championship Silver, while being named Best Opposite Hitter and Best Scorer. At club level, she has won major titles in Turkey, China, Switzerland and the Czech Republic, including domestic championships and the CEV Champions League. Her individual awards are just as impressive. Among them are 2023 VNL MVP, 2023 VNL Best Opposite Hitter, 2023 European Championship MVP, 2023 European Championship Best Opposite Hitter, 2024 Olympic Games Best Scorer, 2025 World Championship Best Opposite Hitter, 2025 World Championship Best Scorer. And remember, she achieved many of these honors while still in her 20s. The bigger legacy. Melissa Vargas' legacy isn't simply about how many points she scores. It's about the journey. She was born in Cuba. She became a teenage volleyball prodigy. She left home to pursue professional opportunities. She suffered a major injury. She experienced conflict with the Cuban volleyball system. She was banned from international competition. She moved to Switzerland. She joined Fenerbahce. She played in China. She became a Turkish citizen. Then she returned to international volleyball and immediately became one of the world's biggest stars. That's not just a sports career. That's a story of resilience. Her journey also represents the increasingly international nature of modern sport. Vargas' Cuban roots remain an important part of her identity, while her Turkish chapter has become a defining part of her career. She didn't erase her past. She built something new from it. The girl from Cienfuegos. Think back to that little girl playing volleyball on the streets of Cuba. She was 6 years old. She didn't know about Olympic arenas. She didn't know about MVP awards. She didn't know that thousands of Turkish fans would one day chant her name. She was simply playing volleyball. But that little girl had something special. She had ambition. She had athletic ability. And most importantly, she had the courage to keep going when the road became difficult. Today, Melissa Vargas stands among the elite of women's volleyball. Her story reminds us that sometimes greatness doesn't arrive in a straight line. Sometimes you have to travel through different countries. Sometimes you have to survive injury. Sometimes doors close. Sometimes your career seems to be falling apart. But if you keep moving, another door can open. And when Melissa Vargas finally walked through that door in Turkey, she didn't just enter the national team. She became one of its biggest stars. From Cienfuegos to Istanbul, from Cuba to Turkey, from teenage prodigy to global superstar, Melissa Vargas' journey is one of volleyball's most fascinating success stories. And the most exciting part: her story isn't over yet.